how can we, black, white, whatever, improve this?
The issue is not really skin. The issue is sin. And I firmly believe that the issue is that internally we are flawed. Internally we need salvation from our sin. Internally our sin makes us prideful. It makes us judgmental. It makes us prejudiced, which leads to racism. It makes us lash out at people that don't look like us. It makes us look past evidence to protect people that look like us. It makes us do all those things. It makes us lash out in anger. It makes us point fingers. It makes us, our sin that's in us makes us do those things. And the only salvation for this sin is the gospel. The only way to really cure that what's on the inside is understanding that Jesus Christ died for our sins. And so to me, on a micro level, it's understanding.
Oh, and just like that, we lost him.
America, where comfort has become the religion of our nation, where we practice Christianity in moderation, expect miracles with no adoration or supplication, and go down to our knees in prayer when we're empty like some sort of gas station. And we've even taken prayer out of our schools only just to turn around and, most of us, blame the mischief on our kids' generation. I mean, when did truth stop becoming an objective matter of fact but into a subjective matter of attraction? America, my question to you is, why do we all so wonder why we're struggling as a nation? Look at ourselves. We lead by example in showing our kids how to become more like savages than lovers. And I guess now we've even turned to an eye for an eye to blind each other, so hopefully we don't have to see each other's skin color. It's kind of like how much we love His truth whenever it helps us. But man, why are we so quick to shy away from it whenever it convicts us? It's exactly like how in public schools, whenever you mention the great name, Jesus. Sorry, Professor. I was only being facetious. But the one thing that I will always refuse to accept is whenever people tell me that God is dead in this country. Because if I'm being real with you, it's quite opposite from that. You see, we don't just have a problem with race. We have a problem with being dead to His grace. With all this bloodshed lately, I've honestly began to confuse the land of the free and the home of the brave. The land of the dead and the home to the grave. Where we sit back on our couches in nightgowns and watch our country kill its own on the news like the top 10 highlights, and celebrities will seemingly nearly do anything to remain in that spotlight. Only living for that piece of paper from our 9 to 5, but complaining for a new way to become alive, not seeing we're only dying, just trying to survive. America, where the relationships we create are only as strong as our Wi-Fi connection, ignoring the fact that God doesn't require Wi-Fi, but only the acceptance of affection from the only one who loves despite our imperfection. But let's ignore that, and let's talk about the things that really matter today, shall we? Did Taylor Swift approve of Kanye's song? Did Kim Kardashian really say that about her? Man, please, let's debate on who's right and who's wrong. Who's going to win this election? Walk the hallowed halls of Washington and pledge their word in solemn oath. Well, to be honest with you, I don't really care about all that. Because my faith is found in a man who hung on a cross and gave his life as his solemn oath, and who walks the golden streets of heaven and saves lives as his profession. But Landon, wait, do black lives matter or blue lives matter? Well, what I'm trying to say is that until America learns that Jesus serves as his only hope for this world of oppression, we will always be stuck in the middle of our own questions. Because when Jesus didn't stay in that grave and the stone had rolled away, this pain had already been paid. So I'm sorry to interrupt, Satan. I hate not to let you finish, but America has chosen to put its trust in a man who looked down at death in the eyes and said, "You are no longer this world's sickness because it is finished." So please, just be seated. Because Because when I hung on that cross and you thought you had me defeated, the greatest gift of all of mankind had just been completed. So I'm sorry, Hillary, but his words cannot be deleted nor defeated. His grace prevails through all and cannot be cheated. We've been handcuffed by Satan and locked up in our own cell of sin like some sort of inmate. Drowning in the same waters Christ has already conquered and walked on, not seeing we're only proving the point of non-recognition early on in the Gospel of John. Our American dream is all about saying, man, I want people to remember me. But what we're missing is we aren't putting Jesus as the centerpiece. So while America is going down its own path of destruction, not knowing our own sense of direction, the Lord our God serves as our only source of protection. He's the only thing that can bring us back from our worst. So I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, but we will never make America great again until we learn to put God first. You can sit there and say that I'm only 19 and I have a lot to learn. And you're right. But I guess I'm just tired of seeing these political leaders have the biggest venues but have such a quiet voice for the loudest issues. Politicians seem to speak as bold as lions, but it seems as if they just keep on lying. What I'm trying to say is that we need to see that God doesn't work through our needs. He works through our faith in Him. Trust me, He's not looking for the spectacular. He is looking for the available. Just look at Jesus' 12 disciples. Noah was a drunk, Jacob was a liar, and Peter denied Christ to his face. So what I'm trying to say is that we no longer have to be perfect to receive God's grace, because when Jesus took the 3 nails, wore the crown of thorns, and had blood dripping down His face, He took our case. So put down this world, America, and embrace His amazing grace. Because just like my own name, before I learned to put my trust in Him, America and its sin is just a death sentence synonym. So I'm telling you, gay, straight, transgender, black, white, purple, yellow, man, I don't care. Come to Jesus how you are, because I promise you His love shines brighter than any of our 50 stars. Now, I'm sorry if this poem doesn't meet our social standard of fearing being politically corrected, but it is only because I will never hinder my boldness to talk about the only one who was resurrected. Because the hope, the peace, and the love that we're all currently searching for can and will be found in the Lord. I say this to you because just like Peter, I know we do not want to die by that sword. Our country has been beaten and our freedom has been taken advantage of. We are nowhere near perfect. But that shouldn't stop us from humbly serving a God who thinks even through our sin, we are worth it. I think we all need to be reminded that the church is no requirement in order to get in, but only that you aren't perfect and that you are born with the free nature to sin. That we come out of our state of confinement and open up our heart to God and the truth that lies within His Word. Because trust me, I know my Bible wasn't written with a password. But what amazes me is through it all, His light remains so faithful. You see, He works like how we make stained glass. Though we're all scattered and broken, He can piece us back together and make us beautiful. So call me crazy, but I'd rather put my trust in a man who turned an instrument of death into an instrument of hope whenever we are all lying on our deathbed waiting to take in our last breath. So whenever it comes to whom I choose to follow, you better believe it won't be anybody on a ballot but a man who left his tomb empty and hollow. The only way, the only truth, the only life, Jesus. Because I know that He is the only one who can fill America's greatest weakness. Love.